Tech Witch, Episode 106, Muahaha. Written by Trey Livingston. Story by Damian Taylor and Trey Livingston. Narration by Caitlin Martin. Golden light slices through the thick of the swamp as the ship rises into the sky, all while an elderly witch warrior watches in secret from below. Its burnt arms and heavy eyes have been through more than enough war and pain to arrive at this glimpse of hope about to soar far away from this land of death and sorrow, when the voice, for good to prevail, it takes sacrifice. A sphere of magenta energy blasts through the witch's chest. A whole platoon of tech race down the mountainside toward the swamp, guns blazing as laser beams streak across the sky, the ship as their target. Twigs and branches rapidly grow to fill in the gaping hole in the witch warrior's stomach. Its exhaustion is overcome by anger as it lets out a bellowing roar. The voice, it takes strength. The warrior extends its arms into the mud, merging with the swamp and turning every tree it connects with into an intertwined, pointed shield that rises up and expands to absorb any blast sent its way, giving the ship clear passage through the night sky. The voice, it takes the will. Inside the ship, with hands firmly grasped together, the base tech and witchling hold on tight as magenta bursts flash inside the hull, rocking their vessel. The voice, to withstand everything evil throws at you. Below, the tech's onslaught grows more intense as the witch shield continues to grow. While the ship blasts off toward the cosmos, a golden trail is left in its wake. The voice, and to stay standing. Inside the Hall of Witches, in the gathering room, Jean stands cloaked before a table lined with members of the Witches' Council. At the head sits the esteemed Helene Chris, with her husband standing beside her. A meek man forced to tilt his chin nearly all the way up to feign the slightest bit of nobility. A weasel personified. Mark. They're in a room that exists outside of time and space, where a light, wispy haze conceals the floor and blurs where the walls begin and end. The table and floor both appear to be floating in nothingness. Jean. Thank you for seeing me at this urgent calling. Mark.
We have yet to call the meeting to order. You will wait to speak until instructed.
Jean takes a deep breath to hold himself back from saying anything more, fully aware of his place in the pecking order, but behind his sealed lips, the swelling contempt he feels for Mark is barely restrained. Helene motions her hand to Mark, who then in turn nods to Jean. Mark.
Which John Williams has called together this urgent meeting of the council in regard to matters he deems most grave? Which John Williams? Please, enlighten us.
Jean. The Matthew children. They are acting as conduits of great power, a sign of the last unfulfilled prophecy coming true. Gasps emerge among those gathered.
Mark. How can that be possible? Right as the eve of our ascent draws near?
Helene raises a hand, instantly silencing Mark and making him step aside. Helene. No plan is without its complications, my dear. Now is not a time to panic, but a time to act. Wisely. Decisively. That subtle downplaying of Mark makes Jean crack a wry smile. Helene. Which John Williams? If what you say is true, we at this council know what must be done. Jean. Thank you, Northern Ascendant. Helene. What evidence do you present of these most grave accusations? I have it on good authority that the Matthew children have dealt with a necromancer. I suspect they met with their grandmother. The girl appears to be channeling power through her brother, possibly due to the massive amount she must possess. The council members brace themselves on the table, clearly alarmed by the power he speaks of. Mark.
How trusted is this source of yours?
Jean is insulted. Am I the one under investigation? Am I not an equal member of the council serving the Northern Ascendant? Mark.
In these trying times, making up such a story could be the ruse of a usurper. We must have a verifiable source to—
I am not making up my daughter or the dangers she has told me of. She has my trust, and more importantly, she has the trust of the Matthew children. Jean looks to every member present. And I don't believe I'd be present at this table if I didn't have yours. Mark goes to interject, but Helene is swift to address Jean, making Mark inhale deeply to cover up his attempt to speak. I believe you speak the truth, Witch Jean Williams. Your loyalty is your most admirable trait. You will have the full support of the council. Council members exchange slight glances. Mark restrains a horrified gulp as they all recognize the danger in Helene's sibilant tone, but none are brave enough to question it. Helene ignores all of them without a hint of acknowledgement as she remains focused on Jean. Where should we begin? Jean. It's simple, really. Jean is now in Kylie's bedroom, sitting next to his daughter at the foot of her bed. All you have to do is keep an eye on your friends and let me know if anything happens. You must understand, It's to protect them, I know. Kylie looks at her cell phone call log. She's tried to call Bridgette several times, but each one reads, no answer. Jean, I know it feels like a lot. Can you handle it? Kylie, yeah, Dad, I got it. I'll do what I can. Jean places a caring hand on her shoulder before giving her a kiss upon the forehead. That's my girl. He exits the room, calling back to say, are you feeling like Dad's special spaghetti tonight, or Dad's hamburger special? Kylie doesn't respond, instead staring at Bridgette's name in her phone. She taps it once more, only for the phone to ring, and ring, and ring. To be continued.
Stranger, you're a freak of nature.